Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, in a very distant kingdom, lived a king and a queen. They were very happy, but sometimes they sighed because they did not have a child to make their lives happier. That was one of his greatest wishes, but still, the longed for son did not arrive. After some time, her dream came true, and the queen had a beautiful baby girl. The king and queen could not their immense happiness and decided to organize a party. They invited all their relatives, as well as the fairies who had always protected the kingdom. However, there were 13 fairies, and since he only had 12 plates to serve them at dinner, they decided to invite only 12 of them. The party was celebrated with great splendor. Everyone danced, laughed, and ate. Almost at the end, the guests approached the king to meet the princess and offer him a gift to her. When it was the turn of the fairies, each one gave the girl her best gift. One gave her beauty, another beauty, the next wealth, and thus each one gave her a precious gift as a gift. However, when the 11th fairy had finished giving him her gift, the uninvited fairy suddenly entered the room. He wanted revenge on her because they had excluded her from the dinner. So without introducing himself or looking at anyone, he shouted, addressing the girl. The king's daughter. When she turns 15, she will prick herself with a spinning spindle and fall dead immediately. And without saying more, she turned around and left the room. Everyone was stunned, and the king and queen began to cry uncontrollably. However, no one had noticed that there was still a fairy who had not announced her gift. The fairy came forward, came to the girl and said, "I can remove the eggs, but I can do something to help. When the princess turns 15, she will not die, but she will go into a deep sleep for 100 years, until a prince wakes her up with a kiss of true love." The next day, the king tried by all means to prevent such misery from being fulfilled. So he ordered that every spinning machine or spindle that exists in the kingdom be destroyed. Meanwhile, the gifts that the other 12 fairies had given them were being fulfilled. The princess was becoming more and more beautiful, modest, intelligent, and wise. On the day of her 15th birthday, the king and queen left the palace early, and the maiden was left alone. She took the opportunity to tour the palace, entered the rooms, the halls, the kitchen, and finally came to the foot of an old tower. She had never seen it before, so she climbed the narrow spiral stairs that led to a small door. On the door, there was an old key placed in the lid. The princess turned it and opened. In the room, an old woman sat spinning on a spindle. doing?" said the king's daughter. "I'm spinning," answered the old woman. "And what is that thing that goes around and makes such a nice sound?" the young woman asked again. The princess approached and wanted to try. However, the curse was fulfilled. She pricked her finger and fell to the ground. At the cries of the old woman, the palace servants came, but the pinches on her cheek were in mine. Upon returning, the king heard the sad news and, disconsolate, ordered the princess to be placed on the bed in the most beautiful room in the palace. The news also reached fairies who immediately came to the palace. The same fairy who had changed the eggs had a brilliant idea. She would also make the rest of the kingdom sleep, so when the princess woke up, she would not be alone. With her magic wand, she went through the entire kingdom to plunge him into a deep sleep. Everyone who lived there froze. The dogs on the lawn, the pigeons on the eaves of the roof, even the burning hearth fire was left without heat. The kings also fell asleep in their royal seats. In addition, the fairy grew a strange and large forest around the palace to keep it hidden from the curious. However, the story of the Sleeping Beauty became popular throughout the region, and with the passage of time, some children of kings began to arrive to try to cross the wall of thorns and reach the castle, but not could do so. Sometime later, a prince who was passing by heard the story from the mouth of an old man who thought that behind the thorns there was a beautiful princess who had been asleep for a long time. The prince began to cut the thorns. Thus, he was approaching little by little unto the palace. It was very strange. It seemed that they were sleeping soundly. He continued to advance, and in the great hall he saw the entire court lying asleep, and on the throne the king and queen. He continued touring the palace, and finally reached the tower where the beautiful princess was resting. He approached the room, opened the door, and saw the young woman lying on the bed. She was so beautiful, so he fell in love with her. He then approached her, and unable to contain himself, kissed her. Thus, the princess opened her eyes and woke up, looked at him suddenly, and they hugged. The princess appeared before the kings, who happily embraced their daughter. And days later, they celebrate the wedding of the prince and princess, and so they lived very happily. The end. Thanks.
Once upon a time, there was a simple and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her evil stepmother and two stepsisters. The stepmother did not like her, and made her do all the household work. Her stepsisters just never had to work. They just roaming around in their fancy dresses. They always made fun of Cinderella because of her plain dressing. One day, a letter from the king came to their house which said that the king is having a ball tonight, and his son the prince who is choosing a wife. Every kid in the kingdom must be aware. Everyone got excited about reading this. Cinderella too wanted to go to the ball. Her stepmother told her that she can go if she completes all her work on time, and also helps her stepsisters with their dresses for the ball. Cinderella worked as fast as she could to get everything done, but there was always something left. At last, she was left at home disappointed. She wanted to help Cinderella go to the ball. With a wave of her hand, she made Cinderella look like a princess. She gave her a beautiful new gown, glass slippers, and shiny black horses to reach the ball. Before leaving, the fairy godmother said, "This magic will only last until midnight. You must reach back home by then." When Cinderella entered the palace, everybody was struck by her beauty. She was the prettiest girl in the ball. Even her stepsisters didn't recognize her. The handsome prince also saw her and fell in love with her. All the other girls were very jealous of her because the prince danced with her the whole night. She enjoyed herself so much that she almost forgot what the fairy godmother had told her about her magic. However, when she saw the time and remembered godmother's words, she quickly left the palace and ran away. In all the hurry, one glass slipper which she was wearing was left on the castle steps. How Cinderella and find the girl whose foot fits in glass slipper. When they reached Cinderella's house, the two stepsisters tried their best to squeeze their big feet into the slipper, but they could not make it. Finally, when Cinderella tried the slipper, her foot fit perfectly into the glass slipper. The prince recognized her from the ball night. He married Cinderella in a grand ceremony, and they lived happily ever after.
Little Red Riding Hood. She's Red Riding Hood. She's Red Riding Hood's mother. They are in their house. Grandmother Lucille takes the food to her. Kiss mommy, goodbye. Goodbye, be careful with the big bad wolf. Red Riding Hood takes flowers for her grandmother. The big bad wolf sees Red Riding Hood. Hello girl, I am the wolf. I want to play with you. No, I can't play with you. I go to grandmother's house. She's ill. I take food and flowers to her. The wolf goes to grandmother's house. Grandmother, it is Red Riding Hood. I am in bed. The door is open. Grandmother sees the wolf and climbs into a cupboard. The wolf is in bed now. Red Riding Hood comes to grandmother's house. Grandmother, it's Red Riding Hood. I have flowers and food for you. I am in bed. The door is open. Come in. Grandma, you have got big eyes. The better to see you. You have got big ears. The better to hear you. You have got big eyes. The better to smell you. Grandma, you have got big teeth. The better to eat you. Red Riding Hood runs away. Help! Help! The wolf wants to eat me and my grandmother. A hunter helps to Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. He catches the big bad wolf. Red Riding Hood and her grandmother eat the food, drink the drinks, and smell the flowers. They are happy now. The end.